Brandon, you were a Navy SEAL. What did you make of the frisking of the sergeant very quickly when he got out of that vehicle and then just before he boarded the helicopter? Is that standard operating procedure? I assume they're looking for explosives.
Yeah, they're taking precautions for any explosives. I think that was another reason why they took that plastic bag Bergdahl was holding and dumped it on the ground. But another interesting point on the propaganda piece that no one has really mentioned up till now is they have a Pashtun saying that boys are for pleasure, women are for babies. And the way that Bergdahl was presented, very clean-shaven and effeminate, I think is another insult, a purposeful insult to America in the handoff.
What do you mean, that they shaved him and they explain that? Because I'm not exactly following what you're suggesting.
So in the Afghan culture, in the Pashtun culture, to grow facial hair and hair in general is to be very manly. It's very effeminate to present Bergdahl as very clean-shaven, his head shaven, his face is shaven as well. And this is a very effeminate look in that Pashtun society. And so to present him in this way is, I think, another insult and part of the propaganda during the handover.
Yeah, but let me just follow up one more time, Brandon. It's possible, and just tell me what you think, that they were cleaning him up, if you will, to make him look healthier, better, to show, yeah, we had him for 5 years, but we really, kept him in pretty good shape, so we're going to shave him. That's what the West likes. These Taliban guys might be more sophisticated.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, my experience in Afghanistan, having that facial hair is a very big sign of manliness, and to shave Bergdahl and present him how they did, to me, in my experience serving in Afghanistan, it's a direct, very clear message.
That kind of mission, to send special operations forces in a helicopter, I assume other helicopters are hovering overhead, fighter jets are hovering overhead, you got to be worried that this could be a trap and these guys' lives could be endangered. How do you mitigate that?
Well, it's tough. Traditionally, special operations operate exclusively in a nighttime environment where you can leverage technology, the night vision and thermal imagery. So to do a daytime pickup like this is extremely risky. The AC-130 gunship will not fly as standard operating procedures in daylight conditions. You have an overcast, which makes it extremely difficult to put a Predator drone overhead to monitor the situation. So, daylight pickup like this is extremely risky. What's interesting, too, is our sources, in a story we wrote on softrep.com, said they had, for 3 months, the Joint Special Operations Command had eyes on Bergdahl. So it makes me question this whole sense of urgency around in this exchange when they had eyes on him for 3 months leading up to this.
And then I assume that they were thinking at least of sending in a mission to rescue him without this kind of exchange. But I guess in the end, they probably concluded that would be too risky, too dangerous. Is that right, Brendan?
Yeah, potentially. It begs to question, why guys weren't sent in. We practice hostage rescue missions like this all the time. But to me, it's a clear sign of an attempt in diplomacy with the Taliban. And, the same organization in 2001 that U.S. was sent over to stamp out, and now we're essentially, it looks like we're, having these diplomatic relations with the Taliban, and it really makes you wonder what the U.S. has accomplished in Afghanistan over a decade of war.
No, that's a fair question, too.